do have a question. If I don't know if you answered this before, but the COVID addendum,
Mhm.
do I need to get a seller to sign it at the listing appointment? Or is that for future if the buyer requests that they sign it?
Yeah, that's usually something that if the buyer or the buyer's agent wants to include it with the offer, it's something that happens after the fact. It's
Okay.
not usually the seller that has issues with the closing time frame. It's
Yeah.
usually the buyer because of the lender and the appraisers and all the things that go with that. And one of the things that I've seen quite frequently is that the COVID-19 addendum comes in, but none of the boxes are checked. Everybody signed and initialed it, but nothing is checked. And I think it's because it's really difficult to know when you're first starting the transaction what you're going to need from that addendum. And
Yeah.
so I'm not really sure that that addendum is as well written as it could have been, because who knows, you know, how much time you're actually going to need, and who knows if you're going to need to extend the date to a specific day. I mean, it's just hard to say. The most common box that's checked is the one, I think it's on line 18, where it's like an automatic agreed upon up to 10-day extension. That one, that one's the most common, but so many times they'll come in with no box check because people don't know what they're going to need. So in that case, you really haven't accomplished anything with the form at that point. But you can always go back to it, check a box, get everybody in the transaction to initial it, and you've got something. But yeah, it's not an easy form to use. It's not real user friendly because you don't know what you're going to need.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. I think that answers. It seems like they wrote it up in a hurry.
They did. I couldn't believe how fast that thing came out. Yeah.
All right.
So should I be having a COVID addendum filled out for my buyers that would go with the offer?
It's not a bad idea. What kind of financing is your buyer using?
So it's going to be conventional.
Okay. Conventional is probably the least likely to be drug out for a long time. Some of the appraisers, especially like I think VA appraisers, have been backlogged quite a bit. Some of the appraisers are kind of backlogged, and it's been dragging out closing times. But I would say for sure on an FHA or a VA that you would definitely want to use it and give your buyer some extra time. It can't hurt to, you know, to ask for that extra, you know, to get an agreement up front for that extra 10 days. It really can't hurt.
Thank you.
You don't know what all's gonna, you know, come down on that.
I just got a call from another Keller agent. She's in Georgia, Southern Georgia, and she's helping me sell our home there. We moved here last year from Georgia, and they're just now starting to get some business. I mean, they've been pretty much in total lockdown, and it's been difficult. And we're just so lucky here in Tucson to be able to continue to work as we have through all this and not see too much of an impact where some states has just been devastated. So
I know it's been quite different here from some places, and you know, I can't even imagine what real estate in New York would be like, or even in Washington State, you know, there for a while. So yeah, we have been very fortunate, and I am myself am really surprised that prices have held so well, and that, you know, so much is going on. It's just amazing.
Did you happen to see that Forbes article from last week?
No.
Tucson is on the list of the top 10 cities in the country most likely to come out of the backside in fine order.
I did hear that on the news. I didn't read the
yeah.
article, but yes,
Yeah,
that,
I can't remember if who did the survey or whatever, but Forbes reported on it. Yeah, I mean, and they did the list of top 10, and they said, we're putting this alphabetically just in case there's a couple of error, not errors, but some, what they call the error margin in this actual
Mhm.
cities. But so you put it alphabetically, but yeah, we're there. And, you know, Phoenix wasn't mentioned, none of the sub Phoenix area cities, anything. Tucson specifically, only for the whole state of Arizona. You know, we just saw that they're moving the New Mexico Raytheon operation over here. So that's 200 employees. It'll be coming over here from over in New Mexico.
mhm.
Again, we all know that Raytheon put the thing up for 1,000 new engineers a couple months ago. We're a target destination, and we're actually standing well because our price points are still somewhat below the average across the country. And then lastly, there was an article yesterday that that real estate market as a whole, when in April, was off 35% nationwide as far as closings were concerned. It's now this past month in month of April, or I guess it was March reporting for April, and now what have you. But the last figure that came out showed it's at 1.5%, less than what it was a year ago. So the real estate market as a whole, yes, there's pockets around the country where there's trouble. But the real estate market they're saying that real estate looks like it's going to hold up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's great news. That, you know, it's great news for the people that are buying now too, because they're not buying and then the market going, you know, down. So that's good for everyone. Gives sellers and buyers a little more confidence.
Another one that came out yesterday, Larry, you may be interested in this, or maybe you've heard, in Realtor.com, we're the top 10 areas for growth. So Tucson made the top 10 list on that too. For Realtor.com, we're number 3.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Hope,
You
no, I
guys are
didn't see
just
it.
full of good news today.
I know.
Anyone else have a question? Or have a topic they want to discuss a little?
Well, as a sidebar in the chat, I asked for your number to be able to text you that address too.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Tess.
Hi. I put a question in the chat box. I have grandkids around and stuff. So, do you have any experience with alternative construction properties like straw bale and hybrids and rammed earth and things like that?
Not personally, no. I have not had any clients that were building that sort of thing. I did sell one once, but not going through the building process or knowing much about that. So I would probably not be your best resource. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I just wanted to find out.
I have a question, Nancy.
Sure.
I'm paying a service. It's Home ASAP to help, because I'm a new agent, build my business and help me get leads. And one thing they use is they link to the IDX. So am I okay doing that, or because I know a lot of people say, well, you need to get permissions to like advertise someone's listing, but this is the IDX or search service. That's appropriate, correct? Or I just had a question about that.
Okay. So are you talking about on your like your Facebook page?
It's a business Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we are supposed to have permission from the listing agent to advertise any listing on our website or Facebook page or anything. Just because it's on IDX, we do not personally have authorization to use other agents' listings. Big.
How's that work with our agent site though? We have IDX on our agent site, so. how does that work?
On our, are you talking about our KW website?
Yes,
agent site?
yes.
Uh, eh,
'Cause
that's great. That's a great question because I've always been told that we have to have permission, especially from if it's from another company, especially we're supposed to have permission. These big companies that are, you know, part of the IDX, they all have signed agreements with all of the MLSs that they can use that. And I guess by getting the IDX signed between the broker and MLS, if you have that signed, that might be good enough, you know, for permission to do that. Dan, are you there? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I apologize. Agent walked in my office. I was answering questions. So
Oh, sorry.
would
Well,
you re-ask the statement?
My question, Dan, is on our agent site, you know, they were set up, I'm a new agent, and they were set up by Keller Williams. And of course, it links to the IDX. So people can come on our website and they can search for homes. So I'm in a sense advertising those homes.
Right.
And then the other day it said, do you want to feature any? And then I put one that I'm an owner of in Georgia just to feature it for my agent there. But, that was my second question. Could I do that? But, and then I realized maybe I should ask permission, but then again, people are coming to my site to look for homes on the IDX. And then I'm paying another service that's also linking to the to my IDX to search for homes, home ASAP, and getting leads from that. Am I doing all this correct? I do not want to get in trouble, and that's the reason I'm asking. I can't ask for everyone's approval on the whole IDX, so that's
wouldn't Homes ASAP, if they have access to the IDX, that access would have been granted by default of their.
You're fine on the homes that are highlighted at the bottom will say courtesy of.
Yeah.
And that's all you need for compliance, is showing that it's courtesy of whatever brokerage is listing that property, because that's who owns the listing. And your lead generator has an agreement with, it's called an aggregate, that has an aggregate agreement with the MLSs that it scrubs, that it just, as long as it represents the actual owner of the listing, you're fine.
Okay.
Okay. You don't need to reach out to an independent agent and say, hey, Mr. Long, can I showcase your listing? Only if you're going to do it on a private channel like your Facebook and run an ad campaign on it.
Right.
And I'd like to just you're doing it as an independent agent, taking somebody else's listing that's outside the brokerage. Highly
No.
no-nos. You don't want to do that, because only use Keller Williams listings. But you still need to ask, because you're not the agent to represent that marketing. The aggregates have a special agreement with the MLSs to pull their data, and you're just buying their service.
Okay.
So if you do it yourself to create like a command thing,
yeah.
yes.
Yes. Okay.
If you're paying a third party, no.
Okay.
There's a third party, as long as it's an aggregate, like somebody that's a reputable source like that, have those third party aggregate agreements in place.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yes, please.
I'm sure that is exactly the reason that we have the addendum to the listing agreement called the profile sheet. And they have on that last page that your seller signs that they're okay with this going out to all those internet sites, because they have to understand that that it is an IDX thing, and they could be picked up by other companies, you know, that are like your site. So they need to know that the listing, once it goes live on MLS, they have to give that agreement, or on MLS they have to be they can go into the MLS, but then you'd have to have exclude that box checked where it would be excluded from being dispersed out to through the IDX. So that's why that profile sheet is so important. And I know sometimes it's hard to get that one piece of paper in the listing file, but that is a very big reason why we want it, is because the sellers are the ones that, you know, might find their house on Craigslist or, you know, someplace else. And you want to make sure that they know and you have their authorization for it to go out in that IDX.
So there are little
Okay.
background stories. I actually took, this was a couple of years back, a listing from an agent of mine when I was at Omni, had a $200,000, it was a $175,000 listing in Green Valley. And we were getting a lot of buyer leads from Craigslist. So I picked his listing, called him up, said, hey, I'd like to use your listing. Can I do a Craigslist ad on it? He's like, no problem. And he knew what I was doing because he's seen me do it. So I just put it on there. I launched it. And that client, the seller of the home, called me and asked me why I was representing her home. And I asked her, I was like, I'm not. Your seller is. I'm just advertising your home for that agent in the attempts to draw in some more interest for it. And she big old stink about it. You know, older lady that didn't quite understand that form that she had signed said we're allowed to market it. And she thought because I was sending it out that her agent wasn't going to get paid, and it created a big stink. But we had that form that was signed saying yes, it could be on the MLS, and then I had the documentation where I emailed the agent and said, hey, can I use your listing as an advertisement? And then followed the channels. This is blank agent's listing. And she came back and tried to raise stink from it. My broker was like, he did everything right. You signed that you're okay. He's just marketing your property to more people. It's doing you a favor, and he's not charging you for it.
Yeah.
So,
But you see
Okay.
how this kind of can kind of get twisted around, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You need
So,
to understand, of course, the position. And I know that you're looking at it more for marketing for, you know, for buyers' perspective and things, but from a seller's perspective, it might, you know, look like something else. So
Okay.
Sorry, can I add
so I
something
need
to
to
that?
yeah, because I need to definitely go back. I'm looking at my agent site because I was playing with it the other day, and I need to, because it said, do you want to highlight any sites out of the IDX? And I need to go back and not highlight anything that isn't my listing. So I need to go back. Also, am I allowed to put the house that I'm trying to sell in Georgia on as a featured listing or not?
Well, you have it listed with an agent in Georgia, correct?
Keller Williams agent, yes.
Okay. They cannot advertise it here, and you're not the listing agent to advertise it there. I mean, I suppose you're an owner agent, but you don't have it listed, and it's not an Arizona property. You would think that, I mean, it makes sense that you could
Right.
have it on there, but at the same time, if you have owner agent, that implies that you have it listed, and you don't.
Okay. Okay. All
Sorry,
right.
can I
will
add
take-
something along the lines of sharing another agent's listing?
Yes,
Sure.
yes, please, Bill.
Okay, so I hope you can hear me. What's quite common here, at least in Cochise County, we often share other agents' listings via Facebook, addressing them. So let's say, check out this beautiful property listed by Kelly Blue ERA. Please call me for a showing. So that way, everybody knows, you know, I am not the actual listing agent, but I can help you as a buyer's agent. And I'm also addressing the other agent, even with another company, and advertising their listing that way. And they're always very thankful. And so it kind of goes around. We do that here quite a bit in Cochise County. So I thought that might help you as well, because you're not really paying for leads, you know, you're not really advertising it as a property that you're marketing, but you're addressing the fact that it's listed through someone else, but you'd love to help them. Does that help?
Yeah, but at the same time, if I want to feature something, I need to approach that Keller Williams agent and say, hey, can I?
Right,
feature
completely.
this?
That's a completely different story. You know, that's
Yeah.
a completely different setup.
Mhm.
But yeah, then of course you have to have permission. But
Yeah. Okay.
What I meant is just it's kind of a free ad that you can share still on your Facebook page and but make sure that you are not the listing agent as representing yourself as a listing agent, because that can definitely cause problems. So
And,
anyways, I thought it might help.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
and your Facebook page has to be in compliance with Keller Williams Southern Arizona logo. I mean, it has to have the name of your brokerage on it. Right.
Yes.
I have
Yeah,
about
I have that prominently. Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question about that also, Nancy. I have it prominent on my business page and most any other material, especially with regards to advertising a listing. However, there's many things that I do that are, I don't want to say they're more for fun or something on my business page. Am I overthinking it that I need to add broker Lisa Sullivan on every single, everything I do?
Well, you don't need to add broker Lisa Sullivan. You need to have Keller Williams Southern Arizona. That's who you work for, not Lisa. In Arizona, it's the if it's an independent broker, if it's a, and there is no LLC, that's one thing. But the entity is who you're licensed with, and that's what needs to be paid on the page. We really encourage agents that if they're going to have just a fun page that they interact with their family and friends and they don't talk about real estate, that they should have a separate account for that kind of stuff. When you have a business page, that's where you have to have the Keller Williams logo on everything. You really can't have extra pages or extra things that where it's not addressed. So does that answer your question? I mean,
Well, in other words, I always add hashtag KWSA or Keller is maybe as long as I write Keller Williams Southern Arizona somewhere on it.
yes.
Because there are fun things even on your business page, like a meme or something that you maybe add, some verbiage about it. I just want to do it right. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Brokerage name, KWSA does not count. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's almost on the business page. It's almost like doing a signature card. Keller, I do, Larry the House Guy, Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, and then a website or something like that. But it's on the business page, but it's when I post something, I'm always kind of signature carding each post, mainly to get Keller Williams, Southern Arizona in there.
Yeah.
Is that a correct way of looking at it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you both.
And then
Nancy?
there's a good question from Robin in here in the chat. Robin, do you want to ask that question?
Thank you. Yes. So now I'm nervous. So I got permission in writing from a sales manager at Lennar, and she wrote, I told her I wanted to feature one of their spec houses on an ad on Facebook. And she wrote back that I was welcome to feature any Lennar listing. And I have that in writing. So then I made an ad in command and I just picked one that was active on the MLS. But is that okay or not okay?
Is the person who gave you permission in management at Lennar?
Yes. And I know her because we bought our home from Lennar.
Well, I think as long as you have permission in writing, and she doesn't have any of them listed separately in MLS?
The homes are listed separately on the MLS.
Yeah. And she's saying that you can advertise them like on Facebook or however you want to advertise that home as well. So basically, if I am understanding you, I guess do you have an IDX? Like that was kind of the conversation before, if they're part of an IDX. I don't know if you can screen it, what's the word? You can filter down to where you're just doing like new construction or owned by Lennar or whatever. I don't know if those filters are available on any of that stuff, but that way That way your IDX wouldn't be pulling in everything. It would just be pulling in specific types of listings. Is that, Larry, I am not a tech person and I am not a Facebook person. So is that possible to filter an IDX?
I don't think so. But you know, it's everything is, you know, there's so many links through the IDX and stuff like that. It's hard to, you know, for us as just agents that don't deal with the behind the scenes stuff at that level, to know who all's tied into what.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you know, I think it's an interesting question that Robin has here, but maybe somebody from the Lennar side needs to address that a little bit more.
Yeah, it definitely would have to be somebody in ownership, or the broker, or somebody that, you know, could give that authorization. And if that person has that position, then it's probably, I would say that it's all right because you have it in writing. But yeah, just make sure that the person you got the authorization from
Is authorized to give permission.
give the
Right.
permission. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, I guess I have to get a hold of Jesse. I was able to take down or delete any other listings, except they said I had to have one in. So I just left the house in Georgia in, since I don't have anybody else's permission right now. But I would like to delete it, but it's not allowing me to in command.
Yeah. Do you have on there that you are the owner of the property?
I believe she put me down because I told her to put down owner agent on the listing. So, and we're doing it as a referral, I think, too.
Okay. Are you licensed in Georgia?
No.
Okay. So she doesn't need to put owner agent on the listing in Georgia because
Okay.
you are not the listing agent.
Okay.
What
Okay.
all she needs to put is in the contract or in the agent remarks that the seller
Mhm.
is a licensed real estate agent in the state of Arizona.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what she put on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she put that because I'm not licensed in Georgia.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, our time is up, but I thank you guys so much for joining in and having different questions. I think it was kind of interesting today to just hear different things and have different questions come up because they all relate to each and every one of us. Maybe not on the same day or at the same time, but they're all good questions for us to consider. So, and I'm going to get some more clarification on I'm going to look on ADRE and just get a little bit more clarification on this IDX thing, see if they have any information on it, because I understand that it's kind of a blanket deal, right? That when you've gotten the IDX, the broker signature, you know, permission, and the MLS signature that you can have the IDX on your page, then I guess that is kind of a blanket permission, so to speak. And everything is, as long as the sellers have all given permission on their profile sheet that they can be in there, it sounds like you're covered. But I just want to make sure, because we do have to be careful about when we're advertising listings from other companies. It's, you know, it is a permission thing. So anyway, you guys have a great day. Is there anyone that has anything final they want to say? Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate the hard work you're doing and the good job on your files. So